She is the founder and chief executive officer of JBF Sports, an international inspirational speaker, and the author of the upcoming book, Wisdom.Soul.Start. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Miss Janice Taylor.
Hi, everyone. It really is bright, isn't it?
Thank you. You're welcome.
Wow. This was much better when it was empty about 2 hours ago. And I got to watch JB perform, and I was like, oh my goodness, I really have to follow that? Let's give a big round of applause for that. That was outstanding. And since she told you my name, I'm not going to be able to say that again. And they always say the hardest part of any speech is actually saying your name and what you do for a living. So she handled that for me. But often the question is, people says, what is JBF Sports? So we provide youth engagement apps for pro sporting teams to teach core values and community. Pro sports, I know. Try that one on. This little invention that I had came about 5 years ago. I'm from Saskatchewan. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if women could get along so our kids could get along? I know. My company was called Just Be Friends, and so women sent me hate mail. And I said, hi, I'm Janice from Just Be Friends. That little invention took me from Saskatchewan to the Oprah show, which then took me to Silicon Valley, which then took me to this beautiful valley. And I just have to say thank you to all of you, because I've kind of been a lone wolf most of my life. Never really knew where I should be. And I came to Kelowna 2 years ago, and every time I fly in, my soul just breathes. So thank you. When I wrote to the Oprah show, they said, why do you think you're the ultimate viewer? And I had told my story of where I had been from. And I said there was a book at that time that had changed my life called A Return to Love. I read that 20 years ago. But the first time I heard about it was watching the Oprah show. And I just hoped and prayed that my mother had paid the cable bill. So I would hold, I'm going to age myself. I would hold the tinfoil on, the rabbit ears. And I would bang the crap out of the side because it was one of those old tubes that kept running. And I heard about A Return to Love. I read the book, and in the book she said, love is the only thing that is real. I was like, she is so full of it. I'm like, that's not even close. I was sitting in an empty house with an empty fridge. And I thought, if love is the only thing that is real, I have so much evidence where that's not true. Does anybody else have that? I went on this pursuit to try to figure out if, in fact, that could be real. So I read another book called The Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo, for those that have read it. There's a beautiful story in the book, and it goes like this. The Polynesians believed that Taro, which is their creator, was born in a shell. And he grew, and he grew, and he grew, and the shell broke. And out came the earth. And then down in a shell he went again. And he grew, and he grew, and it grew. And the moon was created. And another shell was broken, and so on. For each of us, we often feel that we are in shells. And then they break. How many people try to put that back together? I'm from Saskatchewan. We use duct tape. Works marvelously. There's several tractors that have run several extra years because of duct tape. I am no different. I would stare at those broken shells and looking at the ground, hoping that we can go backwards, hoping that we can fix. But what if? What if we looked up? What if we looked up and those shells were actually our constellation? What if they are your Big Bang? For me, when I read the books, there was another thing that she had said. She said that the expression of love are miracles. And the only practical experience of love is inner peace. Yet how many of us hope that the outside changes? For me, I thought that if I just made money, if I just became wealthy, I would no longer be that poor kid from Saskatchewan. I thought that if I just look different, I know I'm going to get one surgery. No, I'm going to get two. And I'm going to look different. I woke up from that hospital with a blood clot, and I was still me. That didn't work. Just as an FYI, save yourself the money. Still going to be you. If there's a plastic surgeon in here, I'm deeply sorry. But I thought if I looked different, I would no longer be me. Then I thought, I know. It's my marriage. Well, he's going to go. Maybe not a bad decision. But that's what I did. And I have a long sort of legacy of broken relationships. And then it came to this moment that I could no longer break any more shells. I was in a shell of anger. And I thought, I know. I'm going to talk to my dad for the first time in 30 years. So in December of this past year, I wrote a letter. And I thought, I'm going to tell you what I think. Well, I did that for 30 years. This time, I'm going to tell you what I'm grateful for. And I didn't know where he was. So I found somebody that could get him the letter. My dad lives on top of the hotels in Saskatchewan above the bar. If you've ever been in small town Saskatchewan, you would have visited those. I found him. An hour later, we were on the phone. And he said this. I said, how you doing? He says, well, you know, for drinking and smoking for 50 years, I don't take a pill. Healthy as a horse. He says, all those people, they're limping around. He goes, I got nothing. I said, well done. Usually that would get some sort of smart-ass comment from me, but I was like, well done. And he goes, and the strangest thing, I've saved $3,000. Now, anybody who knows somebody who has taken up alcohol for most of their life without really their own permission knows that that is a lot of money to save. And he said, I'm getting myself a set of teeth. You also know that a lifetime and a legacy of alcohol and living on streets, you would lose your teeth. But he said, and I'm going to eat corn on the cob. And I said, oh, the butter is amazing, Dad. You just wait. He then said this. He said, I figured the best way for me to love you was to stay away from you. Now, I had spent 30 years believing that he didn't love me. That's why he stayed away from me. So then I came back to the question of, is love the only thing that is real? That broken shell of anger was gone. What remained were pieces of forgiveness and hope and acceptance. And along my path, there's always been this word or this phrase. I just found out that Wayne Dyer didn't coin it, and there's a guy named Jesus that did. I never grew up in an environment that had any type of religion, so this was new to me. And it says this, you are who you are. I am who I am. We are who we are. The acceptance in that is love. And that is a miracle. So yes, love can be the only thing that is real. This evening, we are going to be joined by a woman that has changed my life. It was my Bible until I discovered there was a real one. Who knew? Saskatchewan, you know, we have limited amounts of reading material. And when I first read A Woman's Worth, I am in the most masculine amounts of energy that there is. I'm in pro sports and technology. Try that one on for your divine feminine energy. I walk into the NFL, they're never quite sure it's me. They're like, wasn't expecting that. It's quite wonderful. But I did come out of the LA Clippers, and the guy asked me if I was trying out for the cheerleaders, and I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah. I sure was. I'm like, you can make that mistake, I'm 40. But in those moments, I am reminded of this phrase from that book. And it is, our masculine partners are the vehicle, and we as women are the divine love of fuel. We are the fuel of love. And when I read Enchanted Love, when I decided it was time for me to stop hating men, God bless my ex-husband. Read that book after. Would have been better before. I realized that it wasn't that I needed somebody wonderful. It was that I am someone wonderful. And in Return to Love, we learned that no matter the role that we play, husband, wife, mother, daughter, careers or not, that our love is universal in all of those capacities and not different in each one of them. So we better have our spiritual chops down. Tonight, this is going to be a conversation that I have waited 20 years to have. And I have to say to you, the people of Kelowna, when I didn't have a home, and I was really scared a lot, I've spent my whole life traveling. And when I came here to this place, you gave my company a home, but you gave the book Wisdom.Soul.Start a home. And I will be forever indebted to this community for that. So thank you.